Let's have a quick recap. My mother-in-law DNA tested my baby behind my back after I'd said no, I do not want my baby DNA tested. She couldn't do the test with my husband because my husband had also said no to the DNA test, so she DNA tested our baby with her husband. The results came back as a 0 match and honestly nearly ruined my life because my husband for a period of time believed that that baby wasn't his. Enter my partner's dad. He comes to us and tells us that he wants to do a DNA test with his son. Not with the baby, not with my partner and our baby. No, my partner's dad and my partner. I hope that makes sense. So they do a DNA test behind my mother-in-law's back because if they are a match, if they are father and son, they obviously don't want the mum to know that they've done a DNA test. Turns out they're not father and son. 0 match. Absolutely no chance in hell that my partner's dad is really his dad, his biological dad. So the last time I spoke to you, we had just got the results to tell us that my partner and his dad weren't related in any way. Then we decided to confront my mother-in-law. And I am so excited to tell you this story. So my husband and his dad went full-on family intervention style. And lucky little old me got to be there as well. We waited at her house for her to come home from lunch with her sister. Lunch with her sister is her weekly gossip and complaining sessions. My plan was to be chilled, silent even, demure, you know? Just sit back, sip my water and watch the fireworks fly. That did not happen. When she walked through that front door, all smiles and shopping bags, something in me just snapped. I stood up, slammed the DNA results down on her table, slid them towards her in exactly the same fashion she did to me. And then I just watched the realization and the panic wash over her face. All hell broke loose at that point. My husband and his dad started shouting over each other, shouting at her at the same time. It was messy, loud, and so emotional. But whilst this was going on, she did not look at the men once. She stood there staring at me the whole time, and I just smirked right back. Finally, once my husband and his dad had stopped shouting and the silence just engulfed us, she slowly turned to look at her husband. And more coldly than I could probably recite, she said, "It was 30 years ago. What do you want me to do about that now?" And then she just left, just walked out.
I didn't expect that response. Not even an apology for lying all these years. It almost seems like she thinks it's no longer relevant, but that's where she's mistaken. Just because it happened 30 years ago doesn't mean it should be overlooked. The fact still remains, the child he raised wasn't his.
No apology, no shame, no explanation. The audacity of this woman, she tried to expose me, tried to tear me and my baby away from our family. And then when her own mess crawled out from under the floorboards, it's everybody else's fault.
The biggest cheaters are the biggest accusers. She was totally projecting her own guilt onto you. So in an attempt to frame you for cheating, she exposed herself. Every accusation is a confession. She owes you and her husband and her son an apology. I think this is a lot of drama for one family. While she was busy trying to prove that her son's wife was unfaithful, she was on the other side hiding a massive secret. We know sometimes a mother might have doubts, but this situation is different. The fact that she wasn't shocked implies that she knew from the start who the father was, yet she still let another man raise her son. People who make these kinds of decisions often fail to consider the impact on those involved. Now she has a son who doesn't know his real father, and a husband who rightfully feels betrayed. Life can change in an instant. One day, you could be living what feels like a perfect life, and the next, you're hit with the harsh realization that it's all been a huge lie. Now he will have to decide what to do next because this revelation can affect a lot of things. Let's imagine you are the husband. What would you do? Would you just ignore it as it happened 30 years ago, or end everything?
Don't do that shit all fast. Show me who you fucking to. Fuck out of here. Word, I'm trying to spin that camera fast.
He made a valid point. He paid for the entire vacation, but she wants to brag about it, and was even willing to leave him out of the footage. Why shouldn't he be in the video when he's the one who had to dig into his pocket to pay for it?
40K a year.
No.
40K a year is a no-go. What about 50?
No. It can't. You got to be at minimum $1 million.
At minimum $1 million a year?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I hate having this conversation because it's like, it sounds so shallow.
What you mean? It's the truth. I mean, it's the bottom line.
No, I want to see what it's like to date somebody that make at least $1 million a year. I want to see what that's like.
You want to see what it's like you never have.
Well, I've seen what it's like, yes, and I like that better.
Then why you ain't stay with him?
Because those didn't work out.
All this talking was just to say that she wants to experience what it feels like to have that lifestyle. That's interesting. But I hope you all realize she's talking that way because they gave her a microphone and there's a camera recording. She didn't mean it. The reality is that she's most likely never been around guys who make that kind of money. And what gets me about these types of videos is how they talk about it like they've got it all figured out. They tend to ignore the fact that these guys already have their own standards and preferences. If she really wants to play in that league, that's what she should be focusing on. Now I'm left wondering about who she's dated before, who she had kids with, and I wouldn't be surprised if some of them were unemployed. And now suddenly, a guy has to make a certain amount to qualify.
Hey, I'm gonna open the door for you.
Who else was gonna open the door? Was I supposed to teleport inside? Do I look like Chris Angel to you?
I was just letting you know I was gonna open the door.
Is your arm broken? Is that like a big accomplishment to you? Who else was gonna open the door? Obama? Like you're just opening a car door. It's not rocket science and you're supposed to open the car door.
I thought it would be romantic to say.
Don't think that. It's the bare minimum. Just open it.
I'm not sure what kind of deal they have, but that's entitlement on another level. Honestly, only simps would entertain someone with that mindset. One thing is respectfully communicating your needs, and another is demanding things as if he's obligated to do them.
Is your arm broken? Is that like a big accomplishment to you?
That's a good question, and it's exactly what he should have asked her since she was the one acting like she couldn't make use of her hands.
Stop asking her to FaceTime you and you ain't spend no money to get her hair done. What's she FaceTiming you for?
And before I say what I'm going to say, just understand that's how many likes this video had at that time, and the comment section was full of women talking about yes. So my question is, why do y'all have problems with the corn industry and OF and any kind of SMEX work? Why? Because, you know what, if you ain't buying her anything, you ain't spending money on her, then why would she FaceTime you? I don't know. Maybe because she actually likes you. Maybe because she's not an SW, an escort. Right? You know what I'm saying? Maybe because like she doesn't have to be bought. Like, fellas.
No wonder women have unrealistic expectations in our current dating scene. This video really highlights why so many women are confused. Based on his statements, unless a guy spends money, he shouldn't expect a FaceTime call. Maybe he doesn't realize that a woman will willingly FaceTime a guy she likes for free. In fact, she'd be the one calling because she genuinely wants to see him. I guess he doesn't know that money will never be part of the conversation when the subject is real connection, and at some point, this simp will figure that out.
The reason why so many beautiful, well-rounded women cannot find a partner is because a lot of parents failed their sons. My mom on a walk had asked me, we know so many beautiful, well-rounded girls, why are they single? I responded with, your generation was so hard on the girls. Like, we literally had to be made out of glass. We couldn't afford to make mistakes. Failure was not in our vocabulary. Like, we literally had to be perfect. So now you have this large group of women that are almost like overperforming. So now you have this large group of women who know how to take care of a home, know how to take care of themselves, are family oriented, but they also have the ambition of a man and are career focused. Overall, they are performing at standards and expectations that are so high because back home, specifically, my parents are from India. Back home, women weren't granted the same privileges and rights back home in India. So my mom still had me performing the gender norms of a good Indian daughter, but I was encouraged to basically utilize the freedom that I had. Parents failed their sons. Because while so much pressure is being put on women, nothing was put on their boys.
She made an interesting point. She stated most of them are single because they're overperforming, and it has placed them in a position where they struggle to find guys who can match that. But now I'm wondering, where exactly are they overperforming? In what department? That's the key question we need to focus on to understand where she's coming from. Did you notice how it's always someone else's fault? That's a trend I've noticed. The reason they can't attract the man they want isn't because those guys have different preferences. It can't be that reason. In her mind, it must be because those guys are lacking in some areas. All they need to do is understand what guys are actually looking for. If they did that, everything would be easier, and I'm sure most would be able to attract the man they want. I think this generation doesn't really get how the dynamics of relationships work, and that's why they're still confused. Most of them probably have someone they like and would want to be with, but why hasn't it happened yet? It seems like she doesn't realize that she needs to become the woman he wants, and that's the only way to get his attention. This is the end of our video, and I hope you like it. Make sure you check our channel tomorrow for another great content.